And now sports with Chancellor Johnson.
Now, I'm no Roger Federer, so if you're anything like me, you're going to need some help. And the Green Bay Tennis Center offers professional training for every level of play.
Don't quit your day job.
Reggie's first NFL offseason hasn't been a typical one, but he's making sure he's staying ready for whenever the Packers hit the field. You know, all season, Matt LaFleur has talked about how one or two plays can make or break your season. And tonight, the Packers definitely had their fair share, and it just cost them a trip to the Super Bowl. I want you to think about those names you just listed for a second. That's a future Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the best running backs in the league, two guys who made this year's All-Pro team, and a tight end who had the ultimate breakout season. You've seen Aaron Rodgers, for a very long time. To now be in this position to be catching balls from him and him singing your praises like that, what is that like for you?
It's crazy. It really is crazy.
More off the pick and roll, you've got the step back Jay working. That's tough. And then on the next play, you have the one-legged fadeaway. And of course, we already talked about the pull-up, three-point jumper. What else do you have left in your bag of tricks, man?
Man, it's really a lot left.
This time last year, hiring a head coach was at the very top of every Packers fan's Christmas list.
Step 3 is the NFC Championship, and step 4, the big show.
That was the four-step process the Smiths had in mind following their win over the Lions heading into the postseason. Today, at Availability, I reminded them they were on step 3, just one step away from the big show.
Oh, you remember? He remembered my step process when I talk about the step process.
I like it. He take notes.
Listed among some of the best Packers to ever play, with names like Favre, Starr, and White, sits another green and gold great in Lionel Aldridge.
Packers won 3 championships in a row, 1965 to 1967. Certainly a key to those teams and a key to a great defense.
Lionel Aldridge, who made the final stop.
While Aldridge was barreling through offensive lines on the field, equally as important are the barriers he and his wife broke off of it.
I'm glad for that they were strong enough to go through it all. Obviously, something worked out because I'm here now.
Lionel and Vicki Aldridge met in college at Utah State University in the early 60s.
It was frowned upon that they would be dating. They used to have to sneak out and they would take drives up in the mountains and get to know each other that way.
Despite being shunned from their university and Vicki's family, the two continued to see each other in private. That secrecy continued after Aldridge was drafted by the Packers. He feared his relationship could cost him his career.
It occurred to me that he was deeply in love with this girl, would like to marry her. So my natural question was, "Oh, you guys gonna get married or what?" He said, no.
When word began to spread that the two were together, the NFL commissioner Pete Rozelle told Packers head coach Vince Lombardi it was a bad look for the league. Lombardi didn't budge.
Vince told Rozelle, "Look here, you run the NFL, and I'll run the Green Bay Packers."
He went to bat for his players. He fought politicians on behalf of his players. He stood up to the commissioner, as he did in that Aldridge case.
I don't know that he cared what color they were. I think if they could play, they were going to play for him. And whether that meant they played for him and married a white woman, as long as they kept their nose clean and they played hard for him, that's what mattered to him.
In Lombardi's 9 years of coaching, Aldridge was the only rookie to start a season opener for him. Simultaneously, he made history off of the field and became one of the first players in the NFL to marry interracially.
I know they must not have seen color, obviously, either, because there were easier routes they could have each taken. But I think when you fall in love, it's blind, it's strong, it's a powerful emotion.
Maybe a ball player in the National Football League, especially those who happen to be dating or married to white women, have to say thank Lionel Aldridge for breaking through that glass ceiling.
A glass ceiling many current Packers players benefit from today. For NBC 26 Sports, I'm Chancellor Johnson. Lambeau Field is home to one of the loudest, rowdiest, and most passionate fans in the NFL. From inside the stadium all the way to the parking lot A Packers game day is one giant celebration, but tucked away across the street is where the real party starts.
Just your typical Green Bay home. This was a neighborhood that resembled who Green Bay was. This just happens to have a backyard that goes out to Lombardi Avenue.
Our house from the front side looks like just an ordinary house. As soon as you walk in the backyard, wow, there's Lambeau Field right in front of you.
The 3-bedroom, 1,000-square-foot home is heaven for any Packers fan. Just steps away from the historic stadium.
Well, it's hard to beat in all of sports. Obviously, a little biased being a Packer fan, but it's glorious being anywhere near Lambeau Field.
Probably one of the few, views that can rival that in the country. We're very fortunate as a community to have this asset right smack dab in the middle of our town. Welcome to the Ron Wolf Hall of Fame Clubhouse.
Paul and Zoe Belshner own one of the few Packer houses that are available to rent on Shadow Lane. A perfect spot for almost any occasion.
A lot of fundraisers, a lot of graduations, Christmas parties. They're easy. Nobody has to clean up their own home and they can just show up here and it works well.
It's obviously a lot of fun. Tailgate parties, game day is an absolute blast. It's just so much fun to have a private party or have your own area that you can gather and then walk to the game. But of course, this year is slightly different.
After COVID-19 threatened the start of the NFL season, the Packers decided to begin the year without any fans, putting the usual Packers party on pause.
It was eerie to come here and know that they're playing, on the field that's so close, but the sounds aren't the same. You could still see the fireworks when they scored, and that was fun, but it was definitely strange.
There's a sadness. There certainly is. There's an emptiness that cuts deep inside of a community.
Just sad that we're not going to get to go to the Packer games because that's a big deal in Green Bay. You look forward to that every weekend. And, just to know that you're not going to be actually in Lambeau Field.
The result of a fanless Packer home schedule has had a trickle-down effect on the Bushners, with less demand on online booking.
Usually have all the weekends filled. If they're not Packer home game weekends, people will come, just to get together.
Those folks all want to come back, but this year isn't really affording that opportunity, and rightfully so.
Worked out well for me because the people that had rented backed out because of COVID, and being that nobody was going to be here, we had the opportunity, but we still were able to enjoy it and get together with other people and enjoy the game.
The Packers have left the door open to allow fans to attend games later in this season, potentially bringing that giant celebration back to Lambeau Field and back to the Bushners' doorstep.
There's a part of me that wants to see that happen. Certainly it's happening in a spotty manner across the NFL. If we can do that in a managed, safe way, we'd support that.
It would mean a world to everybody. Full house, tailgating, going inside, cheering the Packers on, and just being amongst friends and fans and just having a good time.